So I'm Viola Goodacre, and I'm involved in the user interface development in TPF software. So what we're going to do is start off with a brief PowerPoint, and then we'll dive into the demo and take a look at zTREX itself. First of all, zTREX stands for Transaction Recording and Examination. And it's a facility that allows you to collect data about transactions and resource usage by those transactions, and then just analyze and compare the data. So first of all, let's just start off with a simple question of why do we need something like TREX? And the simple answer is that when you have too much resource usage, it can degrade system performance. And you don't always notice this straight away. It happens after production sometimes even. And when you investigate the problem, it's quite difficult to see what's going on. What you see is the tip of the iceberg. What zTREX does is it collects data about the resource usage, and it allows you to just delve into that and see below the surface of the water, so to speak, and see the rest of the iceberg and locate where your problem lies. So as you'll see in the demo, the transaction recording itself is done from within zTPFGI, and then zTREX is used to analyze. Now, you can choose to record data at multiple levels. The highest level is the transaction level, which records summary data about the transaction as a whole, and it provides a breakdown for each ECB. And you can go further down to the program level, and you can record information about file usage as well. And all the data that's recorded for a single transaction is saved to a single file that can be read by TREX. And this just shows the different, some of the types of data that's recorded: memory usage, program usage, file usage, and instruction counts as well. Instruction counts are only recorded if you actually select to record instruction counts because of the high overhead involved. And this slide, I'm not expecting to go through everything on this slide. It's just really to illustrate the comprehensive level of information that zTREX records and puts at your disposal. But of course, just collecting data isn't enough. The EX part stands for examination, and zTREX has a lot of charts and tables and lists which allows you to compare data within transactions and between transactions. So it's a very powerful tool for drilling down and trying to pinpoint different resource usages. So last slide before we actually get into TREX itself is what its strengths are, which is that it's easy to learn and use. It's quite a small program, so it hasn't got much overhead when running it. It provides excellent feedback and analysis. And if you can catch these sorts of problems early before you go to production, then it can save you a lot of effort and money as well. So that's it for the PowerPoint, which is just a brief introduction. Let's take a look at TREX itself. Now, let's start off with zTPFGI. I'd said earlier that we start off the recording in zTPFGI. And you can see here I have zTPFGI already open, so I'll just connect to a system, which will take a few seconds. And then once we're connected to the system, we can run an analysis. Okay, we're connected to the system now. So if you have a look at the ribbon menu up here, we have a tab which says Analyze. I'll click on that, and you can see that this has various analysis tools, not just TREX. It's got execution, counting, visual log, and a few others. And this section here deals with the zTREX data collection. It has 5 buttons. View zTREX is obviously open zTREX so that you can actually view stuff. These other 4 buttons control your data collection. So it does what it says. If I click on the summary level button, that's now turned on, and when I run a transaction, it will collect data at the summary level, which is at the transaction and ECB counts. I can add to that program level collection, and I can add to that information about file usage. And here, as I mentioned earlier as well, is the instruction count button. If I don't check that, instruction counts won't be included just because of the overhead, but let's go ahead and click it so that we're doing the full whack. So I've got all 4 buttons clicked. That means that we're going to collect all the information we can. So the next thing to do is just to open a terminal. Okay, all right. So as you saw earlier, I just turned on the 4 different buttons for collecting zTREX data. And so now I'm just going to run a couple of transactions. Now I've already got a couple of test programs that I can run. So I'm going to run these. And what happens is after the transactions are completed, it gets written to the file. And well, it doesn't get written to the file yet. It gets written, the data gets collected, and then we have the choice to keep it or not. So here we have the dialog, which it has the zTREX file name, which by default is the system, the terminal name, and then date and time. I'm just going to change that to something like just the name of the program. And I'm going to call it all because I've collected all the data, so I can say that. And then the 3 buttons that are available are discard the transaction, which I don't want to do. That just said I'm not interested in this. We can save the transaction, or we can save the transaction and open zTREX with 1 button click. But I'm actually wanting to run another one after this. So I'll just click Save Transaction. And I'm going to run a second one. Now this second one is similar to the first one, but it just has a few minor differences. And again, we'll just wait for the collection to complete. And remember, we have got instruction and counts included in this, so it does take a little bit longer with those. And so now let's just save transaction and open in zTREX. And here's zTREX open. I'll just drag it onto the correct screen so that you can see it. And what you can see here straight away is the file groups. Now the file groups lists all our zTREX files that we have, and you can see here this one which I've just recently run, and this one where I haven't bothered changing the name, so I'm just going to change the name now. Stick with the same naming convention, I think. And you can see that you can manage these files. If I right-click on one of these, you can rename them, you can delete them, and you can multi-select and do that sort of thing as well. Another interesting button, I mean, View File Groups just shows this file groups if it's hidden. So the other button I'd like to show you here is Explore Files. What Explore Files does is it actually just opens in Windows Explorer the directory that all your zTREX files are kept in, and as I said earlier, it is 1 file per transaction. So for example, if you've run 1 or more transactions, but you want to give them to somebody else to analyze and look at, all you need to do is grab the files, send them to that person. As long as that person's got zTREX as well, they can open them up and look at them. So that's just easy access to where they're kept. Okay, now to get on with the looking at the analysis itself. This entire blank area is the analysis area. So to analyze one or more files, you can multi-select or single select, and you can just add them to the analysis area. So let me just start off by just double-clicking this transaction file. And you can see straight away that it's been added to the analysis area. And you can see that this section here, it's really a navigation pane for navigating through multiple transactions, ECBs, programs. And I'll show you more of that as we go through. And you can see in this section, we have the summary tab selected, and these are total counts. And this is for the whole transaction. So at the transaction level, these are the total counts that we've managed to gather. You can see here that the instructions are included. If we hadn't have checked that instructions count button, instructions wouldn't be included, but as we did, they are. Okay, and I'll just quickly go through each of the various tabs that we have up here. The input tab just shows what our input was for this transaction. The CPU tab, that shows the CPU usage and a breakdown of ECBs. And so looking at this, you can see the majority of this is this yellow color, and if we just look at the key, we can see that that's ECB11. So ECB11 has been using the CPU far more than anybody else. And this is the macros that have been used, again with a breakdown by ECB, and again you can see the ECB11 is hitting a lot of macros. If we look at this is the macro details table. So this actually, if you see the top row is the ECBs, and then we're actually listing the macros and how many times each ECB hit it. And again, you can see the same information there with ECB11. And if we go to the macro detail chart, this is the same information as in the macro detail table, but it is a graphical view of that. And so you can see down here the macros, and here is the key for which ECB is which, and so it just lists each ECB's usage of each macro. Instructions, same. It just shows the instruction count, and programs. These are all similar. So for the frames, these are broken down by size. Doesn't look like there were any 4K frames for any ECB. 1M frames, there's a bit more to show. And there's also a comparison where for each ECB you can see the different sizes side by side. Finds, again, breakdown by ECB files. Pool data, now we've got different graphs for pool gets, pool releases, comparison between the two. Again, we can see ECB11 is the one which is doing anything. And details of pool gets, this is by breakdown by size. You can see in the key here that we're breaking down by size. And same with releases. And then we've got the gets and releases comparison. And we can click on this bar, and it then brings us down to a lower level where we're comparing by size for that ECB, which, as we said, is ECB11. And similar sort of thing for function call counts, DF calls, and tape reads, tape writes, tape reads, writes. That would be a little bit more interesting if there was actually data there to show. But if you could use your imagination, you can imagine that there may well be. Okay, so returning to the summary tab, that was just a brief overview, just to show that at the transaction level, we show transaction counts, and we can break them down to the ECB level to show ECB counts. And here's the find file details, all in a table. Now, with this table, I think it's worth just showing a little bit about the capabilities of this table, just because what zTREX is all about is about you taking your data that you've collected and being able to view it in a way that you want to be able to view it to help you pinpoint your problem. And this table is quite versatile for you to be able to rearrange it to what best suits you. I mean, there's not much data here to see, but if you can imagine a lot more data, you might be able to see how useful some of these features are. So just simple things. You can sort by column just by clicking on the columns. You can also filter. So if I wanted to filter last program used, it just filters by whatever you select to filter by. You can actually remove, if you've got far too many columns there that you're not interested in, you can just drag one off and remove it, and you can put it back if you wanted to. And you can rearrange columns. You can move this to there and rearrange them how you want to, how best helps you. So, but I think that one useful feature of this is, in fact, its ability to group. So let me just drag find file just to illustrate the grouping. So I'm just dragging it up here to this bar. And you can see that now what I've done is I've grouped it by writes and by reads. And if I wanted to group by multiple columns, I could do that. I could drag up last program used, and it groups it by however you want to. And then I can put these back again, and I can put them back wherever I want to as well. So that's just to show you that this table is quite versatile, so that you can view your data how you need to view it to get to the information you need to get to. Now, this last tab that I haven't yet shown you at the transaction level, this shows the breakdown of the ECBs. It's the same type of table that we use for find file details, and which means that it has the same capabilities as well. This is a tabular form of everything I've just shown you in the charts. All the information is the same. So, for example, DF calls here, there were 15 DF calls, ECB 11. If I go to the chart, you can see ECB 11, 15 DF calls. It's just the same information again, but just a different view of it. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the transaction level, let's just go a little bit deeper and take a look at the ECB level. Now, the ECB that we looked at that seemed to actually have stuff going on with ECB 11, so let's click on that one. Now, what we have now is exactly the same types of data that I'd shown you at the transaction level, but pertaining to the specific ECB that I've chosen. So all the charts, it's the same sort of thing. For example, let me just click on CPU. You can see the CPU usage for ECB 11, but with a breakdown by program. So what we're doing now at the transaction level, we say this is the transaction count, and you can break down by ECB. At the ECB level, we're saying here's the ECB count. You can break down by program. So, and I won't show you all those charts. It's the same sort of thing all along. And same with all these find file details. The main difference here is that this particular tab, whereas at the transaction level it said ECB, so that you could view all the ECB information in one table. It now says programs. So you can view all the program information for that ECB in one table. And for all of these, you've got the totals at the bottom as well. So that's the ECB level. So now let's go a bit deeper and have a look at the program level. Now let's just have a look at which program might be a nice one to look at. Well, CJ00 seems to have something going on, so let's have a look at that one. So I've opened this up. Again, this is like a navigation pane. So now I can see all these, and if I just click on CJ00, you can see the counts for that program. Now, we're not going any deeper than this, so there isn't any sort of, this is just the counts for that program. There's not a deeper level to go to at all. So that's basically how zTREX structures the data. So now, as the next thing, let's just have a look at comparing data. Okay, so if we're comparing data, you can, of course, compare data within a single transaction. Comparing data is as simple as multi-selecting in the navigation pane. So now I've just selected randomly these programs, and you can see that we've got a comparison. If I wanted to select at the ECB level, I can select whichever ECBs, and you can see that. And the same is true at the transaction level. So let's just go ahead and add another transaction so that I can show you comparison at the transaction level. So now I've just double-clicked that other transaction that I ran, and you can see straight away that we're comparing the two transactions. And you can see that looking at this, you can see the odd difference. The main difference that I can see is actually in the DF CPU usage, and obviously the DF calls. So let's hone in on that a little bit more and see if we can drill down to have a look at those differences a bit more. So what I'd like to introduce you to next on this front is, at the moment, we've been viewing everything in single view. We also have these other two buttons, which are tile vertical and tile horizontal. Now, let me just click on that tile vertical to show you what it does. Okay, so what we now have is we're actually viewing two different transactions, but we're viewing them each as if they were in a single view. So, and just to show you tile horizontal, it does the same thing, but just horizontally rather than vertically. So now we can have a look at this, and we can, let's click on the ECPs for this one, and let's click on the ECPs for this one. And we can actually identify which ECB has the high DF call usage. So if we wanted to compare ECB 43 and ECB 11, now you can actually do this. Let me just go back to single view for a second. And let me just, you can actually, I showed you how you can multi-select here. You can actually go and select ECB 11 and ECB 43. And you can compare, even though they're in different transactions, you can still compare them in single view because you're not restricted to what you select. The only thing that you can't compare is you can't compare a transaction with an ECB or an ECB with a program. You have to compare like with like, but you can compare more than one ECB. We could even add more to this if we wanted to. But let's just go back to the tile vertical view. Okay, so we've got as far as identifying which ECBs might be the culprits. So let's just drill down and select ECB 11 and 43, I think we said it was. Okay, and of course you can also look at the programs for each of those ECBs now. So I can look at this and I can say, okay, UVA3 is using 15 and NAN3 is using 3. So what I've done there is I've actually identified which program the difference is in. So let's see, UVA3, and I can go down to the equivalent in this one, which is NAN3, and we can actually compare the different values in that program. Now, I do realize that this example is very simple and slightly contrived, but the point of this is just to show you how you can drill down and how you can make comparisons within zTREX and how zTREX can actually help you to analyze resource usage and find out what you need to find out. A couple of other things just to show you really quickly is that for all of these different charts and tables that I've shown you, you can actually export the data. Let me just do an example of find file details. All I need to do to export it is say copy. I've right-clicked there. I say copy, and if I've got an Excel spreadsheet, I can just paste it into that spreadsheet, and there it is. So that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show you about zTREX and how you can use it to analyze resource usage. I think, can I open up for any questions now?
Viola and Karthik, there was a question from Prashant. Is there a way to see the heap usage in the report?
I think that's one for Karthik to answer.
Karthik? Hello, Karthik, can you hear? There are 4 questions here, Karthik. The first question is there a way to see the heap usage in this report?
Yeah, I mean, the report has usage of 1 meg frames. That is kind of actually indication of the heap usage. Normally, when an ECB is created, by default a 1 meg frame is allocated, and whatever the heap that's being used by the programs or that's been requested by programs, that will be allocated for the same 1 meg. And if at all there is the 1 meg is not enough, if there is more memory required, then TPF allocates another 1 meg. So it's really the 1 meg usage indicates how many heap is in use for the TCB, and that's the count we have as part of the ECB's data collection. These are the ECB level, ECB summary level.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Prashant, does this answer your question? Do you have anything to ask, Karthik? I'm just unmuting you. Karthik, Prashant is fine. He said no. And the second question is, when pulling performance analyzer from the C++ layer, the file size is so big that when trying to open up the analyzer file, zTPFGI hangs. Can we filter down elements before we open the report? This was again from Prashant.
The file size huge. So does it mean it has a lot of data in terms of number of programs being called or number of ECBs created? Well, do you know, I mean, when the file size can go large? Is it when we have more data on the ECB level or at the program
Yeah,
level?
I mean, the actual zTREX file itself, it just stores all the data collection for one transaction in one file. So I suppose if there's a lot of data, then the file could get quite large. I mean, there is the options in zTPFGI to collect at different levels. So you could, in theory, collect at the summary level, and then collect at the lower down level after you've analyzed the summary level. So you could analyze the summary level, find out what you need to know from that, then analyze at the program level. But if what you're asking is, can we break it down somehow into more than one file that we can run at once, it's not something that I've thought of, I guess. But it'd be interesting to find out a little bit more about that question, I think, and find out a bit more about what you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Like while I mentioned, I'm not sure what exactly they're looking for. Like while I was saying, one way is to select the data collection at the summary level. That is just to get the data at the highest level. The summary level will be like the transaction and the ECB levels. There won't be any program level data. If it is still have the same kind of issue, or if the data whatever user is looking is not there, then yes, definitely they have to go to the next level, which is the program level collection. In that case, if still not working, probably we need to look at the file. I mean, it's not get hang, right?
Yes, I do wonder about this hanging thing. I mean, it could just be that it's not hanging, but it's just that it's taking a long time to collect the data. Because as you saw when I ran my short transaction, there is a little bit of time where it just has to collect the data, write it to file, and
right.
And I'd imagine that if there's a lot of data, that wait time is a bit longer, and the wait time will be proportional to the amount of data that's being collected. So it might, I mean, I'd like to know a little bit more about this hanging, because if zTPFGI is actually hanging, then I would consider that a problem.
Yes.
But if it's just because it's taking a long time to write large amounts of data, it could just be that, is my thought.
That's right. Then, so again, if there are, when we select more levels, like in addition to summary, when we select program level and then the instruction count, that actually adds more overhead to the transaction, and it's kind of slows down the transaction, because in fact, if you turn on the instruction count, that's definitely going to slow down, because it's going to collect a count of every instruction, every assembler instruction being executed. So right now, the way we suggest is to go different levels. So, try summary level, then summary plus program level. If these two are good enough, I mean, to collect the data, then it should cover most of the data collection that you user may need. The instruction count probably is the more overhead, so that is going to give an instruction per program level at the program level. So that count, then definitely it can speed up the whole process.
Yes, that's right. I mean, that's the reason we provide the different buttons, to be able to control the level of data that you collect, because the deeper you go, the higher the overhead.
Does this answer the question?
Mark, can you ask a question directly to Karthik? And while I'm over here, you are unmuted.
Yeah, I just asked if you could quickly review how to set it up, just for the collection.
Okay, sure. So just how I added, how to actually collect the data in zTPFGI itself, is that?
Yes.
Okay, sure, I can do that, yeah. I'll just come over here. Unfortunately, my connection's dropped, so I'll just have to reconnect again.
Okay, I think I see it.
Okay, did you say you can see it? Okay.
I can see your screen now, yep.
All right, okay, that's great, okay. In the ribbon menu, there's a tab called Analyze, and it contains all sorts of different analysis tools, but this zTREX data collection is the section which controls the data collection. So you can click summary level to collect at the summary level, and as I just said, you can just collect at the summary level if you wanted to. Program level goes deeper. File level includes file usage counts, and instruction level, instruction count includes instruction counts in the summary and program counts that we do. And then after that, it's just a simple case of going to your terminal and typing your command into your terminal. So I'll just do one in just again now. And then once it's run, the data's all collected together and written to file. Although you have the option to discard if you want. So I'll just discard this one. Does that cover it?
Okay, so at that point you go back to your zTREX and all your information will be available to analyze or sort through.
Yes, yes. So as soon as I've run it, and as soon as it's been saved to file, as soon as I open zTREX reads. We have a particular folder that stores all the data in. So zTREX, you see I just ran that and I saved it as its default, and it's just appeared here automatically. So if I wanted to add that to the analysis, I'll just go ahead and double click it.
Okay, I got to nag myself. It said set the transaction file name, then save the file, save and view the file in zTREX, or discard the transaction. So where did you,
yes.
how do you
oh, right, okay, all right. Yeah,
set the
sure.
transaction file name?
Okay, so I'll just run it one more time, and I'll just wait for that dialog to appear again. Okay, so the file name, what we do is we give it a default file name. So the default file name is made up of the system you're connected to,
Oh, I see.
The terminal, terminal name, and date and time. But what you can do is you can just type over that and type in whatever you want your file name to be, and it will save it as that.
Okay.
And then the three buttons are you can discard the transaction, which won't save it. It just says I don't want to keep that data collection. You can just save it, or you can save it and open zTREX all in one fell swoop.
I got it. Thank you.
Good, thanks. Are there any other questions?
I don't see anything, Lila.
Okay then. Okay, thanks. Well, thanks everybody. I'll